Hello, Internet. I'm Bishan, and this is my guide to picking the best and the most suitable headless CMS for your e-commerce brand. Before we get started, let's understand who this video is for. If you are a CTO, COO, CMO, or CEO in any e-commerce or a consultant helping brands evaluate and choose the right headless CMS, this video is for you. This isn't a general overview or some random walkthrough where I just throw out a list of CMS option. If that's what you're looking for, there are a couple of them on the internet, right? And these are surface level blogs, videos out there. But this current video that I'm talking about, this is different. Now, what is different and what is the problem? Now, when you look at best headless CMS or headless CMS for e-commerce, these are high intent search terms, right? People looking this up are generally deep into the buying process, but the moment you start your research, you're hit with an overwhelming wave of blogs and sponsored content. And these are pretty much biased opinions, mostly vague, surface level, with no real insight. The good stuff is almost lost in this whole journey of white paper funnel and marketing fluff. So this video currently is a no bullshit guide packed with real insights on pricing, pros and cons, and most importantly, when to choose what depending on your e-commerce setup. Now, what are we covering today? We're covering the real CMS experience. We're going to share real hands-on experience from working with wide range of headless CMS platforms. The goal is to help you find the right CMS for your actual needs, not to push a one-size-fit-all solution. Every CMS has its own strength. You understand that. Every CMS has its own weakness as well. And there are certain use cases for which these CMSs are used. We'll break down when to use what, why, the pricing, and how it can scale up based on your business. Uh, Now, your question would be like, why should I listen to this man? What's so interesting about you? So, I mean, let me give you a quick background. I've been building modern web products for over a decade right now. I run a specialized team called VFrame Tech, and e-commerce is our core. We live, we breathe headless CMS solutions tailored specifically for e-commerce brands. We work with clients across the globe. We work directly with billion-dollar companies like Abax Exchange, publicly traded company, large enterprises across the globe. And to name a few, now, Abax, as I already told you about, Unimake is a giant in Australia. We have worked with the likes of Samsung, Lamborghini, OnePlus, the name goes on and on. Now, when you look at this, right, these are some of the testimonies that we have got from our clients. And one more thing, personally, I'm one of the top rated developers on Upwork, both individually and through our agency, VFrame Tech. You can check that on the profile. You can also see my team members' profile as well. You can see that we are all 100% job success. We are top rated. Now, we are not just a headless CMS company, like focused on a couple of headless CMS, right? We're focused set of company who do this, but not to stick on to like a couple of CMSs. Like we've seen most of them working with a limited number of headless CMSs and e-commerce platform, and they stick to those. We, as far as what I know, are the only one of those agencies who work with 10 plus headless CMS and over 8 plus enterprise headless e-commerce platform. We have tried, tested, and experienced all kinds of combinations. We work with B2B, B2C, D2C, and a lot of e-commerce solutions as well. And I've been doing it from the last 5 years. So yes, that's the thing. But before I jump in, right? But before I pick up the headless CMS, I want to let you know that we're not married to any vendor, and that's the key. We don't push whatever is trending on the internet right now. We match the stack to the business. We match the stack to the model that you want. We match the stack to the growth goals that you have, team capacity that you have, your journey. We understand the customer journey, and then we match it, and that's what sets us apart. And so yes, when it comes to headless CMS for e-commerce, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, without further ado, let me just quickly jump on to the best headless CMS for e-commerce. Sorry, apologies for that. So when you look at the best headless CMS for e-commerce, right, we have the likes of Directus, Strapi, Sanity, Contentful, Storyblok, Payload, Builder. You would have heard of all of these CMSs, but the only thing that you would have not understood is what do I choose and when do I choose and how do I choose? What are the criteria to choose? Now, this is where the video gets interesting. The reason why the video is very interesting is for the fact that we help you choose the right CMS. Right now, this is the point that you have to keenly note. Now, when to switch to a headless CMS for e-commerce? And look at the real world scenario. Let's take a real world example so that we can break it down for you. Now, assume an e-commerce brand with 5 million monthly visitors, 50 million API calls, 15 plus user roles and management. Now you have all these CMSs that I already spoke to you about, like Directus, Strapi, Sanity, Contentful, Storyblok, Payload, Builder.io. Now all of these can serve different purposes. Now you will have to understand what actually is the best fit here. Now when you look at pricing, right, Directus and Payload are on the lower side of pricing, even Sanity for that matter of fact, between 35 to 40, 40 to 45, 45 to 50, and Payload is around 30 to 45. Now when it comes to Builder.io, right, it's massive. It's around $100,000 to $130,000. Let me emphasize the fact that the costs presented here are just approximation and are on our previous experience and some of the latest data. So this can change based on your requirement. Now, having said that, now let's assume you're a brand. You have a lot of customization. You deal with a lot of products, lot of variants. You're not going to go with Builder.io, right? Obviously, because Directors and Payload are going to be one of the CMSs which can serve your purpose. Now, let's assume that you are an agency, marketing agency, and you have a good team which is technical. You have a lot of collaboration happening, and you don't and a lot of content driven. Then you will go to Sanity. Sanity will be your first choice. Now let's assume that you have a marketing agency, but your in-house team is so non-technical. They don't want to deal with any technical UI or technical things, and they want a simple drag and drop option. Now that's when you will go with Storyblok or Builder.io. Correct. So there are different requirements based on which you will choose a CMS. So some of the CMSs might, align with two of your requirements. Some of the CMSs might align with three of your requirements or many of your requirements. So that drills down to many other criteria. Now, what are the key considerations that you have to look into when you choose a CMS? For example, now let's assume scalability. Now you have a business today and your whole purpose is to scale it tomorrow, right? You want to grow the business. So the CMS must be able to handle increased API calls and content requests. Now, now there might be a case wherein you might have a lot of customization, you might not even have. Let's assume that you have a customization. So obviously you will have to look at that factor as well. Now, for example, I also give an example of a business which needs an in-house team, which has an in-house team, which needs ease of use of a CMS. That's another criteria. Now, cost could be another criteria for smaller businesses as well. Like larger businesses don't really care, but smaller businesses do care, right? So obviously, cost efficiency is also one of the key consideration before you choose a CMS. Now, this solves your whole idea of what do I choose and how do I choose. Now, let's talk about the right headless CMS based on business problems. Now, I'll make it very simple. Even though I'm going through the blog, I'm going to make it very simple to you. Now let's start with Directus. Now Directus and Payload, I'm going to quickly align it together so that it makes it very easier for you. Now, if you have a lot of customization, lot of products to manage, and a lot of dimensions and compatibility, pricing rules, and all of those things, and it's probably an e-commerce, it's probably a retail, or it might be a manufacturing, or any of those businesses, this will definitely need the help of Directors or Payload. Directors and Payload are just not CMS, but in itself a backend as a service. So when you look at this, right, like any custom admin tools, a lot of customization, a lot of dashboarding, and all of those things, Payload and Directors play a great role, great CMS. These are great CMS for that. Now let's assume that you have a content driven brand and you have an in-house team which is technical, and there are a lot of content translations. Let's assume that you are a fashion brand, for example, and that is when you could think of considering Sanity, because it helps you manage content across country sites and languages, and this is just a go-to CMS for these kind of use cases. Now, when you think of Strapi, right? Like Strapi is good for a lot of things. Strapi is one of those CMSs that came in early. They sell personalized. I mean, if you have brands who are selling personalized products, subscriptions, has lot of user profiles and subscriptions and all of those things. So basically, Strapi is the go-to CMS for it. But obviously, user access roles and all of those things, you'll have to end up paying for it later. But then Strapi is the right CMS to go for. But obviously, having said all of those things, it's not like what Sanity can do, Strapi cannot. It can definitely, but it's more easier in Sanity to do manage all of those things. And every CMS has its own USPs. Now, when you look at when I gave you an example of a very nice example of you know a team who's not tech friendly but wants a visual drag and drop, probably needs A/B testing, then you'll probably go for Build. But let's assume that this is a small brand and they cannot scale up really high and probably are okay with some of the features not being available but still wants a visual drag and drop, you will go for Storyblock. So there are many criterias on which these CMSs can be drilled down, can be used. And that is, and even after all of this, you can get confused, you can always reach out to us, but I'm going to come to that later. Now, final thoughts. Directors is best for obviously industrial, medical, backend heavy e-commerce. Strapi for developer friendly, obviously full control and self hosting. Sanity for content based stuff. Contentful could be for enterprise level, wherein people are looking for security and other stuffs. Storyblok for obviously for marketing driven content, wherein visual drag and drops is similar to Builder.io, and Payload is almost similar to Directus, wherein there are a lot of customization. So this is like a final thought about which CMSs to use. Now, obviously, if you want to shortlist a vendor, there are key factors to consider, and you can obviously go through this whole blog, which can help you come to an inference, come to a conclusion. This could be like a very good asset for you to actually shortlist a vendor. This whole blog comprises of all kinds of challenges that can incur, and what are the key considerations that you need to have. Now, even if you want to read about more about headless commerce or anything of that sort, this blog can serve the purpose. And I'm not going to get into that, but I'm going to get into this important factor about open source leadership. Now, if you ask us, because they work with a lot of CMSs right now, if you ask us what would be your preference of CMS, I would say anything which is open source. Obviously, because Directus, Strapi, Payload are open source, they are developer friendly, scalable, and unlike any other proprietary CMS solutions, these platforms offer full control over data, extensive customization, seamless integration. So obviously, I would choose one among these. We would choose one among these CMSs. Obviously, the world is advancing towards open source. We see the likes of Linux, Docker, Kubernetes, Git, TensorFlow. So we have seen all of these things, and obviously, a lot of our clients as well that we have seen in the last 1 year have always chosen Directus, Payload, and Strapi because of its open source game. Now, you can also look at this blog for major companies using Headless CMS, and you can understand the ROI out of choosing a Headless CMS. What is the ROI that I might get as a business? So I mean, this is one of the must read blog that you need to do, that you need to go through so that you get a lot of information. But having said that, this brings me almost close to the end of the presentation, but I understand that there are challenges, there are confusions that you will have. I mean, by now you probably might have a good idea of the CMS you need to use, and hopefully this video has helped you get closer to that decision. But if you still need a more detailed explanation, sure, you could spend hours searching and experimenting. Once you finally figure it out, right, you will need to find and build a team to implement this. You could ask your in-house team to do it, but in most cases what happens is the in-house teams are tied up with other priorities. Even if they are available, right, it could take them months to get to the first version, and obviously a lot more months to get up and running. So you would not want to go through all of these things, right? So you can reach out to us, we can handle the entire process end to end. So you can just stay focused on what you do the best, that is obviously running your actual business, taking care of the tech that you have inside. And you will always have this question as to why should I work with these folks, like why cannot I go with a freelancer, or why cannot I end up going with another freelancers, right? Like other freelancers or other agencies, like bigger agencies. There are bigger agencies that I go to. But what I firmly believe is the fact that the bigger agencies and smaller freelancers, there are a lot of cons more than pros. So we form a mixed balance between them, which aptly is this thing. So we form a mixed balance. No, when you look at bigger agencies, right, there could be high overhead costs, while freelancers might have lower costs, but it's inconsistent rate. We are very flexible in terms of cost. Be it availability, we are constantly available. We have a good number of resources with us. We are scalable, and most importantly, right, when you look at most importantly, we have the right domain expertise. We have CMS expertise with over 10 plus CMSs. We have e-commerce expertise. We are not limited to a tech, for example. We are not like slow in adoption, or we lack depth and focus like a freelancer does. And even in terms of collaboration, or support and maintenance, we are always there, and we've worked with clients across the globe, so communication should not at all be a problem. So, if you're still unsure and want to help pick the right headless CMS or tech stack for your project, we offer you 20 hours of free developer time, including one-on-one consultation to help you guide, choose the best CMS and overall architecture. I think you should make total utilization of that 20 hours that we give you. I've attached a company website and my currently link below. Feel free to book a call with us and let's see how we can support your projects. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be releasing more content on headless CMS, headless commerce, and everything in between. Thank you for watching. Cheers.